Say hi, guys. Hi, I'm Cohen. This is the story of how I got here. You telling them? Tell them. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Hey, Oakley. Okay.
Say hi, Oakley.
You ready for Mom and Dad to tell the story? Are you gonna take a nap while we tell the story? Cause you look like you need one. Okay, say hi, brother. Thank you.
So, I'll start it just because I'm the one who woke up with the contractions. So, on May 21st, I woke up at 3:30 a.m. with a contraction, or actually I didn't know it was contractions yet.
You didn't even wake me up.
No, I didn't wake him up because I wasn't sure if it was the real deal and I didn't want to wake him up. So I laid in bed from literally like 3:30 to 6, just feeling them, whatever, wasn't sure. Thought maybe I had to poop. If I'm being honest, I thought it was, yeah, gonna just be that and then it was gonna be nothing. But I kept going to the bathroom because I just peed like a million times during the night. And one of the times I went to the bathroom, I actually, like, this might be TMI, but wiped like a little bit of a bloody show, and that was like the first I've had. So I was like, oh, could be something. And then 6 o'clock, I texted my mom and was like, I think I might be having contractions. And she was like, get up, walk around, see if they stay. So that's what I did, and I still haven't woke him up yet. And then my mom was getting excited. She was like, call me. And I was like, I don't want to wake Bradley up. She was like, go in the garage. So I walked out in the garage and I talked to her for a little bit, and she was like getting all hyped up. And then he did end up waking up. He's like,
Yeah,
babe?
I know, I was like, woke up confused.
You're like, where'd she go? And then I kept having them. I was timing them at this point, and they would be like, they weren't super consistent, but they'd be like 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like, they were kind of all over the place. That's why I wasn't convinced they were real until, like, we were basically going to the hospital.
Yeah, even then you weren't convinced.
I know. Really, I wasn't convinced until they admitted me. Because I was just like, I don't know.
So yeah, I woke up, I think I overheard you, I don't really remember.
I don't know.
But I woke up for some reason around, what, 7?
Probably.
Walked out there and she was on the phone.
And I was like, we need to clean the fans.
I know, we started cleaning. I cleaned his fan,
I had been cleaning like every day just in case, but then I thought about, I was like, the fans, they're so dusty at his fan and the living room fan. I was like, clean the fans.
And then you already had everything ready for the hospital.
Yeah,
We just
hospital
got
bags
ready.
were packed. We had planned on that day, it was a Sunday, and we planned on going to my parents and eating ribs.
Oh, yeah.
So we still planned on doing that. So we got ready, and my mom was like, just come over anyways. Got ready, I did my makeup, did my hair, straightened my hair, got all ready, because I was like, if it is real deal, we gotta look good.
And we had to get nut job ready.
Oh yeah, we packed up his stuff because he was gonna stay at my parents', and then we weren't even, like, originally we weren't gonna go over to my parents' as early as we did, but we probably left around like 9 or 10. Probably.
Yeah, closer, it was at least 10. At least. And then we
Yeah.
ate breakfast there.
Yeah, we ate biscuits and gravy at my parents', so we loaded up the car with all the bags, the car seat, just in case, my medicine ball. Packed that all up, packed the dog up, we went over there, and that ride over there was pretty rough. He was like speeding because I was having contractions, and they just like for some reason hurt so much more in the car than they did when I was like up and walking or bouncing on the ball. Bouncing on the ball helped so much for me. And so when I was sitting in the car, I was like all tense, like, and he's like just trying to get there so I can get out of the car.
I'm like an old man, I drive slow, and it's the
He
first
drives
time.
slow most of the time. This is the first time he like ever drove fast, trying to just get me out of this car.
Fast for me is like 78.
Yeah, he wasn't like
95,
speeding like
80.
dangerously.
Yeah.
At this point, they were more consistent, and they were getting like 5-4 minutes apart.
Well, we got done eating, and then I had plans to make more house keys for your mom and dad, and then you guys really started timing them then.
Oh yeah, y'all left and we went and bought more he went and got
I just got duplicate copies of the house key. So they had a key.
So they had a key for any reason they needed to go to the house or whatever. So he and my dad went and did that, and I was just like bouncing on the ball in the living room, having them like pretty much every 4 minutes. We were counting, me and my mom were like sitting there counting them, and they were like, yeah, I never had a point, I feel like, that my contractions were super far apart. Like, people talk about they start at 20 minutes, blah, 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 and they start getting closer. I feel like they just, like, I woke up with a contraction, and from there, they were, like, 10 minutes, or, like, a little sporadic, and then they got close relatively quickly, I feel
How
like.
often were they when you first got them?
Like, every
when I was asleep.
10 minutes, 5 minutes, they would, like, bounce around, I feel like, and they weren't that, like, bad. Like, I was just, like, laying in bed through them, and they'd be, like, that's why I was like, maybe I just have to poop. And then, but they did get stronger and closer together. And I had planned on laboring at home for like as long as I could. Because I originally like wanted to try for unmedicated. I planned on staying home for as long as I could. So I didn't even expect, if it was the real deal, to go to the hospital till literally later that night. But then we were like, I was having them every like 4 minutes pretty much. And they were lasting a minute. So my mom was like, Bradley, call the hospital and see what they tell us to do.
Yeah, we were gone for only like 10, 15 minutes. We get back and it was already
and
like,
then my mom was like, call the hospital, just see what they tell you. And my doctor actually wasn't on call, so it was a different doctor. And she was like, oh yeah, probably just come in, get checked out if they're like 4 minutes and 1 minute lasting. So we were loaded up the car, my mom, him, and me.
Well, just so people know, we're 45 minutes easy from the hospital. So
from our house, it's 45 minutes. From my parents' house, it's like, what, 25 minutes?
Yeah, 25 minutes.
Which, if you've ever been in labor and contractions in a car, like, longest car drive ever.
Yeah, but alright, go to, what were you about to say?
I don't know, we loaded up the car.
Oh yeah, we loaded up the car.
We just loaded up, went to the hospital. I was having contractions consistently every 4 minutes all the way there. And they sucked so bad in the car. It was like bouncing on the ball literally was the only thing that sort of helped me when I was having them, I feel like. Which honestly probably was a really good thing because I know that can be like really good for progressing labor. But anyways, we're in the car. We get there. We have to go to like the emergency room or whatever. We get there, I gotta answer a million freaking questions on the stupid paper, and I'm just like,
I know,
okay.
she pre-registered, but they said that you didn't.
Yeah, I pre-registered like twice, but it was like, no you didn't, and I was like, okay. But I also forgot to mention that at this point, like I said, I had a little bit of a bloody show in the night, like or early that morning, but he's trying to sleep. Oh.
This is about you.
And that bloody show, kind of gross, kind of TMI, but very much so, I feel like made me know it was real deal. I like continuously was having it, and it got more and more, and it was like my mucus plug and bloody show was like just, it was coming. Okay, we finally get back in the thing, get back like rolling into the triage, and the girl that's rolling us, the nurse, she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, a bunch of people have come in today, but everyone's getting sent home. And I'm like, oh my god, if I get sent home, I'm gonna be so upset. That's like was my biggest fear, and that's why I wanted to labor at home for as long as I could, was so that I could not get sent home.
Yeah, and I was like a nervous wreck since I found out. Not like bad, but I was just nervous.
You were just
all
like,
day.
I think you were so much anticipating the whole like end of my pregnancy, when it was gonna happen and what it was gonna be like, that you were just like.
And for some reason, I kept picturing all this going down at like 3 in the morning, like this part.
Or like, yeah, the middle of the night. I feel like everyone expects to go into labor in the middle of the night. Oh, he's so sleepy.
Oh.
Okay, getting pushed back into triage, the girl's like, everyone's getting sent home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I get sent home. So we get into the room, and I'm having these contractions, and they're like, okay, just like sit on the bed. Like,
you don't pee first, right? Or
yeah, I had to pee in a cup. That's like always, but whatever. I've peed in like a million cups at this point.
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
You
get in there.
You lay down.
I like sat down. I didn't have to like change into a gown or anything yet, just because we were waiting for them to come in. But she like one of the nurses, she like hooked me up to like the monitors to track my contractions and track his like heartbeat. And that was like fine. I was having contractions. That's when they were like, okay, you are having them. and she explained to us the machine, which he watched the machine the entire time. Like, we were there just watching the numbers and watching the peak of my contractions and all that.
And his heartbeat and everything.
I know, just everything.
was
So
watching you.
finally a doctor that was on call came in and she checked me, and I was at a 4 and I was 90% effaced, and I was she checked me and she came out and she's like, oh, and there's a Good Buddy show, which I had already known that. And so they admitted me. Woo!
Yeah, they got us a room quick.
Yeah, we got admitted. I changed into the gown, bouncing. He went and got my ball because they had a medicine ball there, but it was like flat, and I was like, I want my ball.
Oh yeah, I went out to the car.
He went and got my medicine ball, and I was bouncing. I was having contractions. We were having pretty much fun at this point. They hurt, but they were like, I was still like good. We were talking, we were cracking jokes,
Eating
eating
applesauce.
Jello. No, Jello.
Oh yeah, Jello.
Applesauce. Jello. Just hanging out at this point. What were you doing? Where's your mind now? Oh, I forgot to mention that. It was like 12 o'clock when we left for the hospital, right? 12 when we got there.
Yeah, about 12:15. We got there.
We got admitted, I think, at like 1, my mom
Yeah,
said. She
yeah.
kind of knew better on time. I was like, don't know what time it was ever, and he kind of knew sometimes.
Yeah,
But my
like,
mom,
I know.
like, kind of knew most because she was...
I remember
Yeah.
everything, obviously, but yeah, and then just not times.
I literally, for a whole week after I had him, I didn't know what time it was ever.
Yeah.
So...
And then, well, my mind, I don't know, I think I was most nervous about what kind of pain you were going to be in without being medicated.
Yeah, so
I
at
knew,
this
like,
point, I'm still not, no epidural. Like I said, I was going to try for a medicated, which, spoiler, I did not.
Yeah.
Because it got intense. But basically, I was just in there laboring. They hadn't checked me again for a while because they don't check you, like, that often, I feel like.
Yeah, but yeah, so I remember I was just, yeah, I mean, we
bouncing
were
on
just
the
hanging
ball.
out, bouncing on the ball.
I
You
was-
got up to walk a little bit. And then
Oh,
that
I
was
tried
when-
to, yeah. So they kept getting more intense, obviously.
Yeah, and you got up to walk.
We
walked
tried to walk in the
window.
halls for
Yeah.
like a minute, like people do, like walk it, get it progressing. I could not walk. I literally walked like 2 feet, I feel like, and then had a contraction and literally started crying.
To the
Oh, no,
window.
I forgot to mention. I cried in triage.
Yeah.
I'm an emotional gal, and I think mentally, it was not really the pain I think I was crying over. It was mental a lot because I like heard the girl say everyone was getting sent home, and I was like, oh my god, if I get sent home, I'm going to be so sad.
Well, I think you even started tearing up in the car because you didn't want to get sent home.
Yeah, I was
Like,
just
you
like,
just
overall, I was mentally like, oh my gosh, I cannot get sent home. I want to have this baby.
Yeah.
So I cried in triage, and then they checked me and I was good. But laying down in the bed, I did not lay down in the bed until I got the epidural. And when I had to lay down to get like checked, that was just awful. It hurt so bad. Not getting checked, that was fine for me. I've heard a lot of people talk about how painful getting checked is, and it wasn't for me. But just laying in bed with contractions, I couldn't do it. It was like in my back if I laid down. That's why I was like trying to be on the ball. We tried to walk, couldn't walk, got down the hallway a little bit, had a contraction and bursted into tears basically. Because I was like hunching over. I was like, I don't know what to do. That's kind of what I kept saying, which I feel like any advice from me to someone who wants to try for an unmedicated labor and delivery, I would say to like get someone that knows what they're doing to help you, like a doula, or just go to classes or something, which I didn't do any of that.
You went far without knowing
I went
what
far without
position to
it, but
be
I
in.
literally was just like, I don't know how to be like comfortable. Didn't know how to like, I don't know, help the pain, I guess, or figure out what position to get in. I just didn't know what to do. And I was never against the epidural, so that's why I also never like really got a doula or classes or did anything crazy like that. But yeah, so I couldn't figure out what position to get in. Bouncing on the ball was like pretty much all I did, or I would stand there kind of.
But that was another thing. She wanted to be able to move around and not
Yeah,
be
I
in
didn't
bed.
want to be in bed. That's why I didn't want to get the epidural. Was another reason, because I didn't want to be laying in bed. But my mom sent me timestamps. Okay, yeah. So I was just laboring on my own, bouncing on the ball, getting up, which I do think helped a lot with progressing me. Because like I said, when I got admitted, I was 4 centimeters, 90% effaced. And then I was standing there. Contractions at this point were getting really close together, and they were really painful, like to where I was like not having fun anymore in between them. And then my water did break on its own.
Yeah.
Which I'm so glad it did because I didn't want to get it broken.
Well, right before.
She asked
like
me
an
if
hour
they wanted to
before,
break it,
yeah.
and I was like, no. And she was like, the nurse was like, good choice.
Yeah.
But it broke on its own. It wasn't some dramatic water breaking, by the way. It wasn't like, it just like I felt the gush and then it trickled down my legs. After my water broke, which they say they get really intense after your water breaks, which is true.
That's when
they were like nonstop.
Yeah, you told.
They were nonstop. I was looking at my mom and him, and I'm like crying. I'm like basically saying I want the epidural without saying I want the epidural, and them two are both just like, epidural. And then my mom was like, she was like, do you want it? And I was like, I like nodded, and my mom was like, to the nurse, she was like, she wants epidural.
Yeah, cool, because we knew after a while.
I was like, I just don't know how I'm gonna do this, and I kept thinking another mental thing was like I kept thinking about pushing him out without an epidural, and I was like, I cannot. So basically asked for the epidural this at like 6 o'clock at this point, and then they checked me. I was at 7 centimeters, so I did it without epidural till 7 centimeters, 100% effaced, and he was in like a station 1, meaning he was like in a good position. There's like station 1, I think it means he's like fully engaged in my pelvis and ready to like go to the birth canal. So then I got the epidural probably 15 minutes later after like I asked for it.
Yeah,
the guy came in. I was having horrible contractions nonstop, basically pretty much didn't have a break. If I did have a break, the next contractions would be like really, really bad if I had any sort of break. And the epidural was the scariest part probably of the entire experience. Like getting it was just so scary, because if you've ever given birth and gotten an epidural, you have to sit still. You have to hunch over the bed and sit still. And I'm like, how am I gonna sit still with contractions?
Yeah, you were sitting.
I was crying. I was like freaking out. They raised the bed up. They hunched me over. He was in front of me. I probably squeezed the crap out of his hands. I think you were scared too, because they literally, you just explained
well,
why.
Yeah, you can be paralyzed if you move while we do this, and I'm just like, okay.
We had a really good anesthesia. How do you say that?
Anesthesiologist.
He was good. He apparently was like the head of anesthesiology. But he came in. He did the whole asked me about my health. Asked me like made me agree to getting the epidural. And I was like, yep, whatever, don't care. Put this shit in my back.
Big part.
What? Oh, the IV? It wasn't there, it was actually my wrist.
Oh, yeah.
That was when we got there. Obviously, you get an IV, and the nurse, she like, I wasn't looking because I don't watch needles go in me. Heck no, I look away. But I looked back over and there's blood all over the bed. And I mean, she got it in there, but I did bleed, and then I had a bruise for like 2 weeks afterwards. Big bruise on my arm. It's gone now.
Yeah, it was like, that was more painful than, well, like.
It wasn't painful, but I just had a shitty bruise.
Later on, you were just ready to get it out. But anyways, yeah.
Well, yeah.
So anyways, you agreed to having it. Yeah,
he like was talking. I was like, yeah, whatever. Put this crap in my back. I don't care. But I'm having these contractions, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I sat still. I squeezed the crap out of your hands when I was having them. They were just so painful. But he put it in. He did it really quickly, and he didn't mess up, which was good, which was nice. The shot of like lidocaine, the little numbing shot, hurt more than the epidural being put in. It like stung. It makes you like jump a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. After that, it took like not even 15 minutes, I feel like, to kick in.
Yeah, so you probably ended up actually getting it around what, 4?
No, it was like 6 at this point.
Oh, it was 6?
Yeah.
See, my time.
That's what my mom said.
Yeah,
she said it was like 6 o'clock when I asked for the epidural and my water broke and stuff, because it was all within like a 30-minute range from my water breaking to getting the epidural. So, I don't know, like 6:30. I'm laying in the bed now. I got the epidural. And for anyone that is pregnant and planning to get an epidural, I would just say, for my experience, you don't feel absolutely nothing. Like, I was numb, but I had so much pressure the entire time I had the epidural. I kept like thinking he was falling out of me. Because that's how the contractions, they like turn into like no pain, but you have so much pressure every contraction to where it felt like a bowling ball is in between your legs. But that might have just been my experience. I don't know how it is.
Well, that was when me and your mom were like, okay, let's get checked again.
Yeah, we kept like being like, can we just check her? Because I kept being like, oh my god, I'm gonna poop. That's what they say feels like, but it was just so much pressure down there. And I don't know if it depends on if you get an epidural, like at what stage of labor. I was at like a 7 and 100% phase. My camera stopped recording, so I don't know exactly where I left off, but I'm just gonna start again about after I had the epidural. I had a ton of pressure. Everyone's experience could be so different, and depending on what stage of labor you're in could like affect that, I guess, on how it numbs you, which I was numb, just literally felt like a bowling ball was sitting in between my legs the entire time, especially during contractions. So yes, I'm laying there, I have the epidural, so much pressure. I still wasn't like I couldn't have slept, which I feel like a lot of people talk about, like they got their epidural and they went night-night until they had to push. Heck no, I had so much pressure that I was like, kept asking, like, I kept looking at him and I'm like, am I having a contraction? Because I would have so much pressure during the contraction, and he was watching the monitors. And my mom and him, you were like, get someone to check her. Or get someone to check her.
Yeah, I went
just to make sure he wasn't like crowning. But I wasn't, and they changed my positions a couple of times.
Well, they checked you and they said 9.5.
Oh yeah, my doctor also, she came in, she wasn't on call, but she came in at this point, and she came and saw me, and she checked me, and was I at a 9.5?
The second time
she checked me, she was there, I forgot, she came in there and checked me, and I was at a 7, that's when she came in and checked me, and she was kind of just like around, she didn't come in a lot, but then they checked me, I think, and I was at like a 9.5 or something, 9.5.
Yeah, that ended up being your last check, but there was one other one, and I think you were maybe at an 8 or 9.
8 or 9, I don't know.
But anyways, they put something under you to change position.
Yeah, I got a peanut ball, and they kept putting me on different sides. Like, they put me on this side a little bit for a while, and then this side with the peanut ball in between my legs, just trying to get me to, like, get fully dilated.
Yeah, what did they say? Like, this side is...
I don't remember.
I can't remember. It's just like, especially at 9.5, I was like, oh, just this side to go. I'm like, oh, God.
So I was like on each side, whatever. And, wow. I like lost my train of thought.
But when they found out you were 9.5, that was like when the whole room was ready.
Yeah, the doctor came in, she was like gearing up for me to push, and I started pushing at 8 o'clock. That's like when, like around 8 o'clock is when they all came in, got everything set up and ready, and they hiked my legs up.
Well, yeah, I want to say this part, only this little
go
part,
ahead.
because I was like...
I freaking yapped this entire time.
But when the doctor came in and was like, alright, you ready to push? And I think you were just like, yeah, you know, I'm ready. But I was just sort of standing next to her, and I was like... What do I do? Where do I go?
I know. He was getting really excited at this point.
Yeah, like, at this point I wasn't really even nervous.
Tell him about how you weren't sure if you were going to watch and all that.
Yeah, so like
tell him your thoughts behind that.
Like a week before, I watched a video with her on the couch. I was like, let me just sort of see what to expect. And I don't know if it was because it wasn't her or what, but I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch that. And I don't really pass out or scared of blood.
I think he also saw TikToks where guys were like passing out.
It's recording.
It's recording. I'm blind.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, but anyways, I wasn't really too nervous about passing out, but I was just like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch with her in pain, and I don't know how it's going to go down. And you always hear those horrible stories. So, anyways, I'm like asking the doctor, all right, what do you want me to do? And she was like, oh no, you're holding her leg over there. Like, that was like immediately.
My mom was like up here behind me. She was like, I'm not watching. And then Bradley held my left leg.
Yeah, and then as she started pushing, I'm like really
super excited, I think. And they explained to me how to like push. Basically, you like deep breath and then hold your breath basically and push for like 10 seconds.
10 seconds, yeah.
And they count. So we started doing that, and he was like real hyped up the whole time. He was like cheering me on. That's like what I remember from it, is you being like, you got it, go push it.
For the first like at least 15 minutes, I don't know how many pushes you did, but like she was really good at keeping everything super calm. Nothing went really bad, but the doctor was super good about keeping everything calm. It seemed like you were progressing really well. I don't know, with your push. I don't know, pushing or whatever. She was like in there, and she was like,
and she'd be like, look at me, and she'd be like, you feel that? And I was like, kinda, because because it would be the pressure, but it was also kind of hard because I just had pressure basically the whole time. So she'd be like, okay, let's get ready to push. And I'd be like, and then I would go for it. And we had a good all the staff, like nurses, doctor, everyone was awesome. So the nurse was over here holding this leg. Doctor's in front of me, obviously. He's on the left side of me. And even there's like one point I think you were really pushing my leg back and the doctor's like, don't hurt her.
Yeah, I was like trying to push for her. And then it got real when she was like, all right, get underneath the bed and lift these handles up. I'm like,
yeah, they like
looking for the handles.
brought these handles up,
and so
but I
you're
held
able
on.
to grip.
Because if you like hold on to your leg like this and push, but then they whipped out these handles that helped I swear a lot because I like held onto those and pulled myself up, which my arms were so sore like 2 days after, like so sore. My whole body, I went through a workout. But I pushed for like 45 minutes total about, like, yeah, I think we started around 8, so it was like about 45 minutes of pushing. I was pushing and his hair was popping out because
yeah, so within easily 20-30 minutes, she's like, the doctor first, oh, he's got a head full of hair. And then I was like, oh my gosh, baby, he's got hair. Because we kept wondering, how much hair is he going to have? And then, so she's literally playing with his hair the entire time.
Yeah, so she was there obviously watching the monitors, and his heart rate would kind of like get low or drop some throughout the pushing because once he was like, you know, in the canal, their heart rate can go a little wild sometimes. And I think like she would basically like tickle his head almost, or like tap his head, and it gets heart rate going again. That's why but she was also playing with his hair. I think she was giving him like a mohawk.
So that just kept happening, and then...
But it was never scary. I was never, like,
no,
scared.
The only, like, scary part was when she was like, alright, grab the...
Oh, yeah, she called it something. I don't know what she called it. I don't remember, but it was the vacuum. And I was like, I did not want any interventions with, like, a vacuum or, just no... I didn't want anything to get him out, basically. I wanted him to just come out by pushing. But she like threatened the vacuum, basically. She like asked the nurse to get the vacuum out, and then the nurse went to like open it up, and she was like, oh, don't open it, I'm just threatening.
Yeah.
Like that's what she said, and I was like, I think her whole point was to maybe get me to push more. I told her this, I had my doctor's appointment like 2 weeks after, and I was like, you threatened me with that. And she's like, I was threatening the baby.
That's what I was like, oh crap, she's really gonna start pushing.
Which I did. And I kept pushing, and they'd be like, everyone was hyped up. It was like in a blur, but everyone was like cheering me on, I feel like. And she was like, okay, he's coming, come on, push, 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 push. And I'm like, yeah. And then she was really good at the same time about not letting me like pass out, basically, because...
Well, like sometimes the nurse would be like,
I'd be really struggling, and the doctor would be like, okay, take a breath, because I'd be like out of breath almost.
Yeah. And
so she would do that, which was
the
good.
nurse was like, push, 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 come on, give me another one. And she was like, no, just let her rest.
Yeah.
It's coming.
And then he came out after, you know, a few more pushes at 8:45 on the dot. He made his grand entrance. And he actually, which I didn't know this was even a thing, he had a short umbilical cord. Like, it wasn't very long, apparently, because he couldn't come up all the way on me when he came out. He was, like, only, like, right here. And she, like, made everyone really quickly aware when she realized that his umbilical cord was short. Was like, don't grab him, his cord's short. And they, like, because I don't think she wanted me to grab him and pull him up, or the nurse to grab him and pull him up, or anything like that. So she kind of was like, hold on, his cord's short. And I think they, like, clamped it, and then... he cut it, which you can tell that part because
But she just quickly I was like, oh crap, I haven't took any pictures. I'm in the moment, and then I took. He took
like the picture though that was like the good picture.
So I took like 3 pictures really quick, and then she quickly handed me the scissors. And I think I was just like trying to jump the gun. I was just like
excited.
Ready to cut
he was like ready to go without even her assisting him.
Yeah, and she's like, no, not there, not there. I'm like, where? And then she's like, right here. So then I was like super careful. I'm like, right here. And then I did it.
Cut it. He said it wasn't hard to cut or anything.
No, I felt like one little snippet, and then
they put him, you know,
yeah,
up on me for a little bit. He started to cry on me, and then I think his like color just wasn't fully there, like pink.
Oh wait, I cut it and then took the picture.
Yeah, you took pictures after because he was already up on me. In the pictures.
So I was. Yeah, she handed me the scissors.
Because they were rubbing him, you know, getting them all stimulated, and he did start crying, which was great. That was like the moment that we all were just like, ah, like that was like the best moment. And then, I think like because we were gonna do skin to skin for like the hour or two, whatever it was. But then there was like the NICU nurse in there that like basically stimulates the babies and gets them going and good right after they come out. And he like I don't think was fully like pink. Like they want him to be, you know, look good, healthy, cry, get everything. So they took him and brought him over just to like suck probably all the stuff out and get him good. And you went over there, so I don't know. I was just sitting there.
Well, he didn't have a lot of what's it called? Like film or not.
Well, that doesn't really have to do with anything.
No, I know, but I was just expecting a bunch.
Oh yeah, he didn't have a ton of vernix on him is what he's referring to. He actually came out and just like, he really had like none on him.
Yeah, they were, I mean,
he was just like, looked wet because I think obviously the fluid. Oh, you can explain that you were like, whoa, because when he popped out. I don't know how to
explain that because I.
This is like a little graphic, but not. When he popped out, there was like a lot of liquid, you said, like fluid.
Yeah, well, it wasn't, he was on your chest, and then, well, when he came out, like 2 seconds later, a bunch of fluid came out. And I was like, what the? It was just like...
It's like the rest of that water came out.
It was a lot of water. And then, when he was finally on your chest, that's when I just look over and I see the placenta fall into a bag.
Basically, I didn't have to, like, push my placenta out or anything. She basically just, like, pulled it out. And I kind of felt it, but not really. It's nothing compared to him. Oh, I forgot to mention about, or like I feel like when he was like crowning and like when he came out, like his head passed and his shoulders came through, like, and he was coming out is when I had my like, like I screamed a little bit, which I had talked about the whole time. I was like, I'm not gonna scream, like that is so embarrassing. But it was just like, that hurt. That part was like, I felt, and it hurt because that was, I think, that ring of fire people talk about, I guess, where it's, his head and shoulders coming through. We're like, ah. But once he got past the shoulders, it's like his body just like, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, what?
Bloop, bloop, right out. But, so they took him over. You went over there with him.
Yeah, and they kept using that little sucky to get all the water out of his...
the little aspirator.
Yeah, and then wiped him down good, cleaned him good, weighed him, measured him. 7
pounds. 15 ounces.
Yeah, 7.15. I'm like, dang, what is it?
Like, 7 pounds, 15 ounces, 20 and a quarter inches long.
Yeah, 20 and a quarter. And I was taking pictures, and I was just in shock, really.
Yeah. And then,
that was that, though. That didn't take long at all.
And then they brought him back to me, and I did skin to skin.
They didn't swaddle him.
They just brought him back naked, put him on me, and we, like, snuggled, and I got to look at him, because at this point, I feel like I hadn't even really gotten, like, to see him. So I was looking at him. He was so cute. He had all that hair, and he kept sucking on his hands, which was so cute. He was like wanting to suck right away. And then I don't even know when I first tried breastfeeding. I don't know if it was a little bit after. I think it was maybe like a couple, like hour or two after, maybe. I don't know.
I like hardly remember that.
But
I just know people came in fairly quickly after he was cleaned up and ready.
Yeah, once we were both like cleaned up and they took away all of the like pushing or like stuff they had out for equipment for delivering him. We had our families in the waiting room, like my dad, and then my brother actually was in town, like coincidentally, and him and his fiance, and then your parents, and then my Nana and Papa came up, and they all came and saw us like right away for like not very long, just like came in there, saw him, left basically. And it was late at that point.
And they had to go.
And then, and then my mom had left like a few hours later, and then you can go ahead and tell the next story. We're gonna go ahead. So I'm like, we're still in the delivery room. We've been just like chilling at this point. I had an epidural, so I had a catheter, but they take it out before you push, or before he comes out, basically is when they take your catheter out. And you have to pee within 6 hours after you like have him or whatever, and I was like, I'm not getting a catheter again, so I was chugging my water.
First part in the delivery room?
Yes.
It was in the
Yeah,
delivery
because when
room.
we were
Yeah,
back-
like she was so gun ho, and I'm going pee now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to pee because I'm not getting this catheter.
Yeah, so.
Because getting the catheter, I forgot to mention, just felt weird because even though I had an epidural, you still like felt it and it was just like, ooh. And I did not want one without no epidural, so I eventually was like, can I go pee now? And she was like, okay. So they put me on this weird wheelchair that's like not a wheelchair. I don't know what they call it. You like kind of stand on it, kind of bend on it, sit on it, whatever. Bring me to the bathroom. They sit me down on the toilet. I went pee. I peed a lot because I drank a lot of water. And she like set me up with my first little postpartum pad situation, whatever. And then I stood back up and I'm on the thingy and I'm like, I think I'm gonna throw up. Like, not feeling so good. I think I'm gonna throw up. And then she's like, okay. So the one nurse, she's going to get a bag, brings me back to bag. But I swear you could tell. I don't know.
Yeah. By the time the one nurse got the bag and was headed back to her, she starts.
I
Like,
pass out on the thingy.
turning really white, and she starts saying it, and she's like, no, keep your head up, and pushes her head up, and she goes like that, and I'm like freaking out.
He's like, what is happening?
Never
I
seen her pass out. She passes out. She's pale. She's just. I'm like, you guys gonna fix her? And then,
yeah, they're just like. And then I wake back up, and I pass out good because I was like, did I fall asleep?
yeah, you're like, I think I was dreaming. And how long? And then you ask, how long was I napping for? I'm like 2 minutes.
I was like, I
even.
felt like I was in a dream. I'm being pushed on this cart by this one nurse. My girl Nora, that's her name. She's pushing me, and he grabs the baby with the bassinet, and he's pushing the bassinet with the baby. And
For some reason, you guys went a different way. And
there's
I
like
went
a
one
circle.
way.
The hallway was like a circle with rooms, and she was pushing me, and then he comes around this corner, and you can tell it.
Yeah, so I'm pushing. I have backpack, all of the stuff, pushing him, and I come around the corner, and now she's like really passed out, like almost like purple but pale. It's weird.
So I
Lips
passed
are
out
purple.
twice.
Passed out again. I turn around the corner and sort of knock into the wall with him. Not bad, but I was like panicking, and I was like, "What's going on? What's wrong with her?" And they're like, right away when I came around the corner, "She's fine, she's fine, she's fine." I'm like, "How
Well,
long?"
they're
has she
just
been
not trying to freak
Yeah.
you out. And this girl, this poor nurse, she's like trying to keep me on this thing. She ain't letting me fall, but she's also trying to push me to the room and get me onto the bed. And then these other nurses come to like help her. And I wake up again in the bed, completely flat, like thinking, I went to bed. Like, and she was so out of breath, this nurse. I felt so bad. I felt bad. I passed out, and I'm over here like, I'm sorry. Fed me fruit.
Oh yeah, you were hungry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, because I was like, I'm like, it's okay, I pass out all the time.
Yeah.
You were like, why did that happen? And they're like, oh, it could just be like the fluid and all that crap. And then I felt like bad because I couldn't like hold him. I had to lay flat for a while, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I had to be assisted to the bathroom for like the next 2 or 3 times until they, like the second or third time, they're like, okay, you're good to like get up on your own and go to the bathroom. And I was good after that. We had no more incidents, but yeah, he was a little traumatized.
Yeah, I was nervous all
like,
night long.
What the heck? He was like, you good? Like every time I went to the bathroom by myself, you'd be like,
Yeah.
you good in there?
Yeah.
Also, this is like not part of that, but kind of with the bathroom because they like set me up with my pad thing, and after that I was able to do it myself, whatever. But I forgot to mention that I didn't tear at all, so I didn't have to get any stitches like while, you know, I was holding him or anything. I didn't tear, thank goodness, because that would have been way worse. My like recovery has been so simple.
I hear you farting.
I think he's waking up. I think he's pooping. Basically, the story of him coming into this world. He's awake now, so we'll get him back. Come here, poopy boy. Come here, poopy boy.
I got you.
This is the story of him. The story of him coming into this world. We're gonna change him because I think he just pooped.
Too tall.
Squat down. That was the story, my birth story, our birth story, bringing this little guy into the world.
bringing this little guy into the world, the cutest boy. Look at all this hair. Look at all that hair. Hi, baby. Oh, we never mentioned his name.
You did. You said, hi, my name's Cohen.
Oh, well, his name is Cohen Hayes Cantrell. On the wall. And that's the story of bringing him into the world. It was so awesome. I like, even with the pain, oh my goodness. That was a big yawn. Even with all the pain and all of that, it was such a positive experience, and I would literally do it again and again. He's the best little baby, and we're in love with him, and yeah, I would pretty much do it all again for him. Great experience. So yeah.
I'm done.
I'm done. Say bye.
Say deuces. Oh.
That's a lot of poop. Okay, we're out. We're out of here. We got big poops in the butt. Bye bye. Say bye, guys.
Ooh, that
see ya.
stinks.
See ya. See ya. Bye bye bye. Just had to quickly show y'all the big old blowout. That's like his first big blowout. It got on me.
Dang, what the heck?
Okay. Thanks for watching. Love y'all. We got a situation to change. Bye. Okay, let's go.